Yay! It's like our own personal countdown here. I love it. This is fantastic. Hey, everybody. Happy Thursday. And I am so fortunate to be with one of my dearest and oldest friends from Mount Shasta, Miss Joy Taylor. And I'm really excited because she has been on the path for a long time. She's incredibly intelligent. She's incredibly giving. And she's written a book called Inspired. And I'll put that on the screen and she'll show that too. But we're going to talk about that because what Joy writes about is really how I live and how I invite so many people, because we're all waking up right now to a new level of experience. And her book has so many, it's so great because there's a lot of stuff in there that I align with and resonate with. And it's a good guide for people who maybe haven't been on the spiritual path and maybe don't completely grasp where we're going or what we're doing, but just little tiny things that we kind of know how to do that she's really like giving to everybody and teaching. And it's a really fast but easy, digestible read. And so I'm going to introduce Miss Joy Taylor to Shop Talk. Shop Grazie.
Woo! Yeah, I love what you're up to, Alex. It's been so fun to watch and play and interact with you. And thanks for the intro because you really touched my heart. I was having a conversation with Gary Zukav, who wrote Seed of the Soul recently.
Yeah.
And he was sharing how so many people read his book and they say, oh, I knew that. I loved your book. It felt like me.
Yeah.
So my book just came out in June, but what I'm hearing from people, a lot of people are saying, yeah, that made sense. I've had those similar thoughts. So what that says to me is that we are all having access to truth.
Right.
At all times. And, you know, I personally received a little informative download, if you will, of these 7 wisdoms. And they came to me after a cup of coffee. So it was nothing really supernatural, although I was at the base of Mount Shasta. So, you know, it was pretty supernatural just living there for 20 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like we all know deeply inside of ourselves, if we slow down and we touch base, we all have access to our soul energy. And so the big thing that's happening, and you're doing it in your work too, and in what you're creating, which is all about conscious business and soul inspired entrepreneurship, we're having access to these big capital T truths. And I just decided, you know what, I'm going to take this information and I'm going to make it as practical as I can.
Yep.
Because I feel like we live in this kind of crazy world and philosophy is great, but it's like here up. And today is the day to really put our feet in the grass and have jobs and build businesses and support each other and use spiritual principles to change the world.
Yes. So can you show people your book real quick? And I want to, there you go. Exactly. Okay. So this is her book. And what I love about these 7 wisdoms, each chapter is really easy and digestible. And I don't know if you can tease people with a couple of those wisdoms, but before we get there, and we are going to have a special guest on who's read the book, and he's a little bit of a left brainer. And he's masculine, so that's really great. And so he read the book because I'm a spiritual friend, so I'm trying to like give him some insight to really like connect the two. So for the masculine, but also for people who are kind of like, I don't really understand, what's the benefit of knowing these 7 wisdoms? Like what will actually help them if they read it? Because I think in the past it was like you had to really drop in for the full integration of all the spiritual awareness and you had to do all this stuff. What I love about what you've done is you've made it really digestible and easy, but like what's the benefit for people and or people running businesses to understand and these principles, these wisdoms that you have downloaded?
I'll start with me and then I'll start with what I've heard. I'm kind of a scientist in my own way. I'm kind of qualitative in my studies, but I definitely am always finding out. But what I found out for myself is I'm more relaxed. I'm more intuitive. I am more in the flow. And when I am following the guidance that comes my way with an ultimate trust that things are always working out for me.
Always.
always, I start having a conversation with the universe, which is really wisdom 3.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll share the wisdoms a little bit, but I really do want to speak to the benefit piece. It's like a more spontaneous life, a more peaceful life, a more passionate life, and more courageous. That's something I've heard. In fact, one of the greatest things that happened to me, Alex, I hired a woman who's been in the industry, like off, she's from the East Coast, but she moved over to Mount Shasta, believe it or not. But she's a professional editor. And I had her proofread the book in the final stages. And at the end of proofreading it, thank goddess, she found like little changes that needed to happen.
Nice.
But the big thing was she came back and she said, wow, Joy, I'm going to start putting my poetry into the world. You inspired me. I feel like I have the courage to share my gifts. So the benefit is us gaining the self-compassion and the realize that we have something to give and we have gifts and that the world is waiting for our gifts and that we don't need to do them to prove or please anything, but that it is our honor to give. And when we come as you are, I don't know which way to point because I'm not really you're showing up, but you're kind of everywhere anyway.
I'm to the right of you.
Let me just say to the person who's listening, like you are, because we all are, right? We all have something to share, and so do you, Alex, and so do I. I mean, we're all wanting to, I would believe, at a deep level, give back. And so holding back isn't going to serve the world, but moving forward is. And that's what Inspired's about. It's about becoming that amazing, benevolent person who knows that they're not alone, because we're not. Wisdom 1 is life is for you.
Yes.
And so that's based on the whole belief that, in the long arc of things, everything, every circumstance that happens is for our good.
Yes. Well, yes. And I think, I'm going to put Mitch on the spot. He's probably not watching yet, but, he had made a comment to me, which was, I always thought that like spiritual life was like something I'll get to, right? If I have time, I'll get to it. And I'm like trying to convince him, like, no, it's all part of it and actually supports what it is that you're doing, right? Like I use the sacred and the spirituality to work with me and my business for highest gain, because why am I going to work so hard? I don't want to work in the linear world. I actually want to access, and I've said this many times, is life is about a game of chutes and ladders for me. I want to go up that ladder as fast as possible so that I can enjoy a life. I don't want to be like 70 years old and finally have the aha wisdom and get it. I have been striving to create that. And so everything you wrote about was very connected and resonant to me. And it was like, like I feel like it's a guidebook. Like it's such an easy read to get in and use the tools, because there's a lot. And Joy and I both know we've been doing this for a long time, and we kind of learned maybe the harder way, we had to kind of go through our stuff. So for her to deliver this book to everybody is, it is an inspiration, and it's digestible. So sometimes we do the spirituality stuff and it's not digestible, and there's a lot that you have to go through, a lot of lessons. But by doing the 7 wisdoms, you really can like tap in and you can like tune in. So before we pull Mitch on, can you maybe give us an example of a story in the book with the wisdom where people can really like understand and relate? Obviously gratitude is one of my favorite of the wisdoms, but feel free to pick one that you think is a good example. Because she puts a lot of examples in the book, which is really good. The storytelling is super important so that we can relate to how. Because we just think of spirituality and consciousness as this like abstract, but really when you plug in, you tap in, all kinds of crazy, awesome magic can come your way. And like, why wouldn't you want that?
Yeah. So the mystery school is right here, right now, is what we're saying.
Yes, it is.
And so back in the day, the mystery schools and the ashrams, there was an admittance, and you dedicated your entire life to prayer or meditation or practice. So what we're saying today, and many of us are saying it, and you're saying it, Alex, and you're exemplifying it, is that right here, right now, whether it's through business, through volunteerism, through relationship, through a health challenge, whatever's in front of you is your lesson. So I know you love Wisdom 6 gratitude, but let's just do Wisdom 5 for a moment. And then
let's do that. What is it? So I'll put that up on the screen here.
Okay, well, it's learn as you it's it's learn as you live, not live and learn,
Right.
and not learn and then live. And so one of my favorite aspects of this is how triggers show up in our lives, because the person in front of you is the one you've been waiting for, is the teacher you've been looking for. You want a pathway to peace? It's your business that isn't running as smoothly as you want. It's your plantar fasciitis that came out of the blue. It's your health challenge. It's your relationship that's either falling apart or
broken hand that's now healed. Yeah.
Yeah. And so when we realize that, consequence is a great teacher, and that the silver lining of everything is the lesson that we can learn, we begin to ask ourselves, well, what can I learn here? And the cool thing is we begin to ask each other, wow, so Alex, what have you learned? I mean, if you're open to it, so you just had a little crash and you put it on social media. And so there's lessons there, right? Do you want to share? Because this is the real time.
Yeah.
Actually, you the story.
Yeah, actually. So and it was interesting because I'm so in tune to it. It was like immediately, why did this happen? I immediately went to like, how could this happen to me right now? And I will say that one of my friends had done a clearing on my core, and it was releasing sadness and anger. So what's going to create a process for me to move through more than sadness and anger, that if I hurt my hand and I can't work and I'm like surrounded by myself, right? So a lot of my oracle cards that I use to help guide me had just said, you know what? You need to rest right now because you're about to move into something really great and we need you as a leader. And they were literally telling me like, you need to process and stay quiet, which is kind of hard for me because I'm like, big energy and stuff. And so I had, for a whole week, I just sat there and didn't do anything. I was painting. I ended up painting that Ganesha painting and really and then my friend sent me a Joe Dispenza meditation. I listened to that. And then I got to go see Nako and Trevor Hall. And so the magic was alive because I was able to really drop in and receive, because the left hand is the one that I broke. And in my Ganesha painting, that's the one where he's holding the bucket of gold. And I was not able to receive. So it was like, I thought I got this lesson, but, and the interesting thing is I was literally dormant. And the day that my cast came off, I got a client and things started flowing again, the day. So it was almost like they gave me a little bit of a reprieve. I say they, meaning me, my guides and everybody. And it allowed me to really connect back in. And I did listen. I'm always learning for the lessons, because what a lot of people don't want to admit is that we co-create our reality. So somewhere our body wanted to my body wanted to manifest that experience so that I could process. And I'll say one more thing, but I could have gotten really angry, and yet it was the tool to come up and for me to change a different way. It was a time for me to choose peace instead of anger and frustration, right? So the experience came up and I wanted to just be that, but then I knew better. So then I had to choose a different pathway. And that was my lesson for me.
Yeah. So all of us, if we really drop into Wisdom 5, learn as I live. We will recognize in every moment, what gift is here for me? What is the opportunity for me? And so, I tell stories in the book, one of my clients who had a terrible job, who was just having a really tough time. And when we reframed it from the victim to what's the lesson here, he began to trace back, and he realized how his controlling mom was being reintroduced to him as a controlling boss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He got that. And it's really kind of a cool story. He decided, okay, I'm going to stay here and I'm going to learn my lessons and I'm going to learn how not to be triggered.
Yeah.
Learn how to love myself, and I'm going to feel that I deserve something better than this. And so in a short period of time, he was staying in the work, staying at his job, noticing, decharging all of that mom energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Recognizing his greatness. And in a short period of time, he found another job. And he joined a dream team, and it was a socially responsible business. But that happened not, I mean, yes, he took some action, which is wisdom 4, take inspired action. You don't just sit here and learn and
right.
get your intuitions and, oh, how holy and,
right.
You know, as soon as the insight comes or the action comes or the intuition comes or the serendipitous opportunity comes where we are at the divine place, the divine time to meet the divine people to do our divine work, you know, so he took action and he found a new work. He found a new job and he's thriving, right? So wisdom 5 story, notice how life is teaching you.
Yes.
Often it's patterns. It's patterns. If we really step back and we look at it, we're going through continual patterns until we get it. You know, so Alex, I love your story and I can totally relate. It's that breath.
Yes.
Of saying, I receive. You know, so, and I do want to just briefly, you know, inspiration is the in breath, expression is the out.
Yeah.
So inspired, you know, it sounds like this high flying, beautiful, fun, very sparkly energy, and it is. As we breathe in, but without the breathing out, there's agony. You know, if we...
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. For sure. And Maya Angelou, I love her quote about, you know, how the biggest agony we feel is, you know, holding a story inside that's untold. And so inspiration is not just about receiving the bright light, but expressing it. But it is also definitely about taking time to pause, to renew, you know, recharge, and be a better instrument of that goodness.
Right. Well, I mean, it's like I could have really gone into the victim. It's really funny because then I actually just did the class with Jade on clearing more victim, right? So it's kind of a thing we all have. It's just, it's easy for us to get in the mind, but all of this is being cleared right now and coming up for us to be cleared. So it's important that we do learn the lessons, and your book definitely helps with that.
I hope so. I'm getting, you know, I'd love to hear from the friend of yours who just recently read it. And
yes.
You know,
we're going to try and pull him on while you keep talking. His name is Mitch, and let's just see. We're working on the new Be Live right now, so hopefully it will work on. We'll see if he comes up. While we're waiting for him, where can people get your book with ease? I mean, I paid $13, which is like an amazing price.
Yeah.
And
it's cool because it's only $12.16 on Amazon right now. It's a $17.95 book. But it is on Amazon.com right now at a special price. So that's one option.
Okay.
I'm distributing through Ingram, which means, and I have a publisher. So, you can go to your local bookstore and say, I want to read this book Inspired by Joy Taylor.
Okay.
So order it. And I'm a big fan of independently owned local bookstores. So if that is exciting to you, buy local and just have them order the book. That's another way. But otherwise, Amazon, and then soulinspiredlife.com is my website. And then I do recommend people go to my site because I have bonuses. I have some activations and meditations and discounts on programs. And I have this really cool quick reference guide that I created to support people in understanding the wisdoms and how to really use them.
Okay. So let's talk about that for 1 second. I'm going to post this up for people. What's that you're talking about? How can people get involved?
Okay, so if you buy the book and you go to asoulinspiredlife.com, you'll see the book and you'll see how to register for the bonuses. You'll have access to the bonuses. There are 6 bonuses.
Okay.
My personal favorite, it's a quick reference guide. So we've been referring to the 7 wisdoms, and those are the wisdoms or the insights or the practical dynamics to live soul inspired. And each of them are broken up into affirmations, attributes, and actions, and then
Okay.
2-minute activation. So it kind of breaks it down. What are the wisdoms? And the way I look at affirmations, because I'm very careful about affirmations, and I could talk forever about affirmations. And I have a whole section on start where you are affirmations. When you start thinking thoughts like, I deserve love. Life is really for me. I'm a student of life. I love my life, and every day I find a way to give. When you start thinking those thoughts, it's an indication that you're integrating or embodying the wisdoms. So I'm not one to say parrot off affirmations that don't seem true to you. So I offer the affirmations truly as a way for people to assess where they're at. Are you waking up in the morning and thinking, I'm excited to give today? Are you waking up in the morning and saying, I know good things are coming my way? Or are you waking up in the morning and saying, I feel sick, I'm tired? What are you thinking? And so I really recommend with the quick reference that these thoughts, these affirmations can be turned into, I am willing to feel more inspired in my life. I am willing to see every life circumstance as an opportunity to learn. Or what would it take to realize that I'm having a conversation with life? What would it take for me to recognize that life is guiding me? And these are the steps to then fully being in a totally empowered place where it's like life is guiding me and I know it.
Okay, this is a great way to connect to Mitch, our friend Mitch Posada here from.
You guys hear me?
There we go, Mitch.
Oh, awesome!
Yes.
How are you guys? You guys look fabulous.
He's a dear friend he's in Chicago right now, and I would love for you two to engage a little bit because Mitch, he plowed through your book and got through it in like a week. And
that's impressive, Mitch.
Well, yeah, I mean, because doesn't mean I did all the exercises and to get started going, but at least I got through it and then took my takeaways and of where I need to possibly get started. So yeah, it was good. But yeah, I at least initially just read through it because I had a beautiful view in Colorado and just like the time just went by really quick. So it didn't take long to go through it.
Well, that's really great to hear because I've had, other people say they read a chapter and then they have to really take some time to digest it. But I'm so
I could see that. I could totally see that. I had my notebook, so that's how I digested it. I would just take notes as I go.
What were your takeaways?
Well, first of all, I mean, I think to live in today's environment, you kind of need to be grounded in principles. So 7 wisdoms are essentially like a principle. So I find those fascinating and you always have to keep exploring and finding new ones that work, but actively actually work on them, which is what I loved about the book, which is like, okay, here, one thing is just reading it, a nice title, but another like, so then what do you got to go do to if it resonates with you, how do you turn that a little bit into reality and turn it into an actual learning, not just like conceptual. So I really appreciated that. The only one I skipped, sort of run through because it's the one I've been living the most, is gratitude. It was just I think the last one, which I loved. I'm just like, so I just skimmed through it. I'm like, yep. It was the only one that I kind of like, yep. But I loved it. Yeah, principles, whether you're in your professional life or your personal life, I think is key. And I think it's a lifelong learning pursuit. So I think some of the ones that I like, and the one I'm currently going into probably the most is learn as you live. I went through the phase, I think last year of I don't know the way I would describe it. It was just sort of like the reintegrating with yourself and self-love and how important that is. I kind of just never even thought about it to a degree until I got hit with it. Like, oh my God, this is kind of a problem. And I thought you had some practical ways of kind of like going through that. So I'm like, all right, I kind of been doing some of that, but cool stuff in there. So anyways, yeah, for me, it was easy to receive because I'm already kind of wired to think principle driven in the last several years. So that's probably why I ran through it so fast. I'm like, oh, this is great. And then why I had my book already. So it's not to say that I'm like fully engaged and going through it, but that is the plan, is to kind of like start going through, pick some that I need to work on more and things like that, and just try to see if you get more value out of the book that way.
And let me ask you, Mitch, is how did you like in your life, have you used some of those wisdom principles? Does it cause you to kind of stop and think as things are like approaching your life or things that are happening? Do some of those principles kind of drop in, or have they not really registered yet?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was describing a little bit. That some of the first early principles are great because. Or the wisdoms, sorry. Like I said, I associate them sort of like principles. And the accepting and being accepting to love, I think is great. I think one of the first ones, though, I think the bent that I was taking that one is, first of all, you have to like find that in yourself. And if you can't find that in yourself, you're not going to be good to other people. And that I had been working on all of last year and probably through to now, but much better than I was. So I found that chapter fairly practical, but that was the lens that I was going through. And like I said, gratitude, I think I've had for a little while. I think Zan probably knows me well to know that there's at least two principles that I've learned, and one is grace and grit, because I'm an entrepreneur. So those two things I think are chalked in the book all over the place, which is what I loved.
Yeah, so my life is also entrepreneurial. I share stories of relationships and some people having jobs, but predominantly my clients have been entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And
I can see that.
Yeah, I do believe that starting and growing any business is like a definite fast course in personal development. So,
yeah.
Because you have to kind of like, you have to be super grounded. You have to tell other people I see this all the time working with founders. Like, you don't even know how to tell other people how to work with you because you don't even know yourself that well. And that's kind of a problem when you're making decisions in a vacuum in your head and you don't know how to communicate. It's bad. A lot of super leaders, like maybe they were really good at what they're doing, they're authoritarian, but I think in order to become really, really good, you have to know yourself really, really well, probably work on some stuff that you know or you're not great at, and then nurture that in other people. So the book is very useful, even just like you, not even just for yourself, but like how do I see this in other people and maybe give them like even then some of the wisdoms as you're kind of going through, like, I think might help you out, blah, 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 kind of thing.
I want to say a couple things because first off, thank you. Really fun for me to interact with people who are reading the book, and more of that is happening, which is, any author's dream, right?
Right. Yeah.
Right. It's inside of me and it's helped me. And I've worked the wisdoms with clients, and I know they work if you work them. Use the word principle, which I think is a really appropriate word. And lately I've been really feeling into, I chose wisdom because, the philosophers are lovers of wisdoms.
Mm-hmm.
And wisdom is truth, and it's found in every religion. And wisdom is found within each of us. But it's a dynamic. And I think it's interesting that we're really focusing on wisdom 5, learn as you live, because it's always going to be a process. And that's why I like dynamic. It's a dynamic. As much as it's a principle, it's a dynamic that you then get to experiment with. And my intention in the book, and I hope you felt that, was don't take my word for it. So when at the end of every chapter, I give people these walk with the wisdom activities. And I also give people interviews to journal and explore and inquire. This is where you get to try it on and decide. Wisdom 1 is life is for you. You live in a benevolent universe. Well, you may or may not naturally believe that to be true, but try it on. Try it on for a day. Try it on for a week. And what would it look like if everything that happened, you said, this is for the good?
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
might your life change,
No.
right?
By the way, I think that was probably one of the big ideas in the entire book. Like if that, which means if you don't resonate with that, I think that's a hard one to swallow for a lot of people unless you're just somehow you got to that point. God bless you if you did. If you think that way, that's awesome. But I don't think that's a normal way for people to think, that the universe is benevolent. Like, I don't even know if I could. My mom maybe is the only person I could think of, and my cousin are the only two people I know. Like, yeah, they would resonate with that right away. Most everyone people is like, oh my god, it's like I'm just getting beat up left and right. My claim thing I used to say like, I feel like life is I'm like sparring with Bruce Lee and I'm getting my ass kicked, but what a great teacher. But still, I was getting my ass kicked, and I felt like that was my best way of kind of getting to that point. Like, but I'm learning. But at the time, like it took me a mental huge shift just to get to like, it's a good thing. It's okay. And that's how I had to sell it to myself back 15 years ago when I was really going through the like first round of like really doing entrepreneurship. But that is a big idea. I don't think people think that way. And if the tools that you have really help, and it's probably the one that I'm like, I'll get to that one because that one's kind of a pain in the ass for me. It's like, I kind of believe it, but it's really hard to actually feel it because most people like, and Zan's probably caught me a couple times. Like, yeah, it's just not a natural. If you haven't developed it to be natural, then you're going against the grain with that one because most people don't think. I don't think they think that. Like, it's like.
And I don't know if you remember, but the story of the rabbi.
Yes.
He said Gumzula Tova. So like the way to reach a aware state while being incarnated on planet Earth is this too is for the good. Gumzula Tova.
Yeah, that's actually when I started writing in the journal. I'm like, all right, I haven't heard those words, but I've been saying it sort of similarly, and just like, I feel like it's one of those things that you sort of take like, it's the vitamin I got to take. I don't want it's like the shot or whatever. Like, I got to, okay, fine. This too it's not too fun, but I hadn't heard those words. So I wrote it down. That's actually when I started opening the book. So right in chapter 1, because I realized that's probably one of the harder ones. And I do think that is a big idea in the books. I don't know if people really fully sit with that idea.
Yeah, and it is definitely something to digest, especially when we're in an experience that isn't really fun and rewarding for us, right? So a long time ago, I did a lot of classes on access consciousness, and it was more about like, well, what else is possible here, right? So what else is possible is like, can also be a positive and a negative. Like, this really sucks right now, right? My hand's broken and I can't work and blah, blah, blah. What else is possible? So it's really also keeping the neutrality and staying in the wonder of what is coming down, because you don't really know that, so I broke my hand and I got a ticket to Trevor Hall and Naco because the girl selling the ticket at Name Your Price did it because her friend was in an accident. So I might not have gotten the ticket for me. It was just like amazing because I broke my hand. So you just never really know. So it's important to stay in the universe is benevolent.
Yeah, actually, there's a Japanese proverb. I gotta find it, but it's basically one of those things like, "Oh, my son broke his leg," and then the general comes through looking for boys to recruit for the army. I'm like, "Oh, good thing we won't use you." And then another bad thing happened, and they're like, "Oh, that's really bad." And then was it really bad? And it's this great fable that I gotta find somewhere that I read a while ago.
It's in here.
It's in there.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
I'll find the page, but I did never say I've had.
So then I probably remembered it from that. I'm like, I remember this.
I remember that. I've heard that.
Bad memory.
It's in Wisdom 1.
There you go. So
wait,
I had read
1?
that. I had read that a while ago, and I was like, I remember reading this.
Okay,
what is Wisdom 1?
I wanted to say something because I feel so blessed. I've had the opportunity to spend some social time with John Gray. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. And we've had some fun interactions. And so I had him read my advanced reader copy. And this is what he said, and it fits into our conversation. He said, "This book is a timely antidote to the growing sense of fear that we live in an unsafe world." And that's what he got out of it, which is really coming from what we're talking about, that foundational beginning Wisdom 1 or Dynamic 1 or Principle 1, which is, life is supporting you. No matter what happens, there is this arc of benevolence, and you can wait until later to figure out why, or you can trust right now that something good is coming. Like I say in the book, have you heard of the Reader's Digest story of the farmer's wife who lost her wedding ring?
Oh yeah, that
You
was
found
okay.
it
Yeah.
in a baked potato.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think it's fairly relevant for the times we live in, since I'm trying to support purposeful, driven entrepreneurs, and some of the things that they're trying to get to market that are going to hopefully, like, to put it in a crass way, save our ass, the planet and our environment and all this other kind of stuff. And I think the people doing that need to be able to hold themselves in a broader context as well. That what we're going through and what we're going to need to do to get through what we're seeing now, it's going to take that kind of perspective, not just at a personal level, but to see it on a broader level.
And to speak to that as an entrepreneur, right? So I'm creating Shop Grazie, and Shop Grazie is really all about that higher connection. And as an entrepreneur, I use these principles, these wisdoms, to, like, baby step to the next moment. I never really question what is showing up. I just look at everything with wide-eyed possibility of, like, okay, well, this is going to get me closer to this person, and this is going to get me closer to this person. And I just allow the universe to come and communicate with me so I can just receive that insight. And part of the wisdoms that I think that you're sharing, Joy, is allowing to clear your old programming. Because a lot of us came in with some old programming, and that old programming can block us from receiving the insight because we have points of view. And I think about it this way, and this and this and this, right? And so, but when you're clear and you can allow those principles and wisdoms to permeate, then you can be in the magic. And that's when things start happening. And I can say for Shop Grazie, this week has been a massive turning point. And I've been holding true to the vision and the possibility for almost 2 years. And now things are starting to turn because I'm working my own system. I'm working through my own growth. I wasn't ready personally to receive before. And now things are moving at a nice pace. And I can see they're dropping into my reality. And I can see that, yes, more is coming.
I want to ask you a couple of questions if we can.
Who?
You.
Oh, me. Sure.
Yeah, I think this whole Shop Grazie is, well, first off, congratulations. I can feel it in you. I feel like there's a true dropping in. Mm-hmm. So that there's a benevolent universe. There are people who want to support each other. Yes. And now you're saying, wisdom too, I deserve it and I can receive it.
Yes.
And so, I mean, I know some people who are on this channel, but some of the people who are going to watch this have no idea about Shop Grazie. And so what was your deep intention in creating a platform for people to recommend each other, on an app, on a really fun platform? But what was your original intention, or what is your continued intention?
Yeah, thank you. I mean, look, I'm in the world of marketing, and I have been for, 20 years. And it just, to me, it comes from a frustration of being a maker. So you know me from the days of Aqua Mantra. So I had a bottled water company called Aqua Mantra. And this is not at the beginning of internet, but kind of the beginning of websites. So we just did promotions in events and things, right? And so I was kind of feeling it at that time. And it was so challenging for me to communicate to people, and people loved Aqua Mantra, but it was, how do we access them? And now it's actually so saturated and challenging for entrepreneurs to actually be seen and heard that they have to go through, we have to do SEO, and we have to do Facebook, and we have to pay to be seen for the innovation that we have created. And I don't think that's right. I think that we should all be seen and heard. And I want to create a platform that is safe for everybody to be themselves without all this kind of attack of oh, I'm going to make money. Now you're going to make money, but you're not doing it to make money. You're doing it to support the brands and the entrepreneurs that are anchoring in the good principles of the world, which are fair trade, B Corp, sustainable, women-owned companies, made in the USA, conscious supply chain. So when you come into Shop Grazie, the exciting thing is you're going to be able to put all your values in there, and you're going to line up with the companies that are doing those values. How good does that feel? That you're actually now in alignment and you can shop from a space of your own heart intention, and it's safe, and we're not going to attack you with ads, and there's no advertising. It's all volunteer support and gratitude, and that's my intention, and that's my playground. So I'm just bringing it to the world, and hopefully enough people will be excited about it to participate and play in that.
So bringing together heartfelt, soul-inspired entrepreneurs that have beautiful gifts to offer into a platform where people can refer back and forth, and we can really engage without some of the noise. I mean, we're all here. We are entrepreneurs. We work with entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Some of you listening are the same. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I just, dropping in, I just feel the possibility of getting back to relationships as a way to really recommend things and share things and grow without all the noise and the distraction and the shiny objects that are so often out there.
Well, because we are now like in this scrolling society, right? And so Shop Grazie is only going to have 6 items to start with. So you basically recommend 6 items, and they can be things, they can be services, they can be books like Inspired, and it's a way for us to promote the things that we love. And then I don't really have to bug you. I don't have to be like, hey, Joy, where did you get that lavender oil? Or where did you get those amazing cards? Because she has a bunch of awesome decks in her house.
Like just today, I mean, this is so true. I mean, because I don't really trust necessarily Googling the reviews anymore.
No.
So I made a phone call. I just moved in May to a new place, in Southern Oregon, a new home. And I'm finding my network of practitioners and stores and even a hairdresser, right? So, who do we trust but the people that we love and admire, or people who are saying yes to the philosophy of Shop Grazie, or, so for me, because the app's not fully engaged yet, but I made a phone call and I'm like, who do you go to for your dentistry? But I love the concept, because that's going to make it easy for all of us not, to really share from our heart what's making a difference in our life.
And also to reconnect to each other. I know that I live in a space of community. I've been living in community and on sacred economics for the past 6 years as I've been traveling, which is how I know Joy and Mitch. And so that connection. So how do we really know what people are spending their money on? And what we're going to have a thing called the dreaming tree. And the dreaming tree is like what's important to you, and like how you can, am I still on? Yay.
Yep.
Okay, cool. The dreaming tree is like what your highest vision is for do I want to give to charity? Do I want to save money for traveling? Do I need a new car? Things like that. And so that's a way for us to share with each other. So when I go shopping, then I can actually what's Joy into right now? Like, what's she saving money for, right? What does she want to contribute? So I'm more inspired to shop within your network and your pages because I want to help you. And that's the other intention, is really connecting to our friends and how can we support. So on a higher level, is our abundance going to really grow and expand because we're all kind of thinking of each other and connecting it a little bit more.
You're really, really inviting us in our giving to others to also receive from others. So that, like, hello,
right?
Are receiving.
Right.
Yeah, so I talk about it a little bit in the book in Wisdom 6, which is your purpose is to give, but intention is so powerful. So if we're starting an entrepreneurial, like Shop Grazie, pursuit, a relationship, meeting with people, having a party, doing this right now, we just, we're spending time to share, right? Mm-hmm. But what was the intention? And so that's why I asked you that question. But I love the Shop Grazie intention, And I feel like the more that the people who are learning about it can really understand it,
Yes.
the more we're like, oh, this is a community of soul-inspired individuals who have resources, have companies, have vendors, have, whatever items, stuff they love, share what they love. And in the process, there is the possibility of some financial reward for everyone.
Yes.
And money is energy. And I talk about that, Mitch, you probably remember, that, why have money? And John Easterling taught me there's 3 reasons: reach your highest potential, contribute to the causes you believe, and support the people you love. And I do believe that's what you're doing on your app and your platform. So, it's beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited because I'll have inspired as one of my 6 items so that people can learn about it. Although, that ultimately she would be giving 20 to 50%, so I'll probably get like 50 cents off it. But it's a way for me to promote, right? And that's the other thing. It's like, where can you go where you can put all the things in one place and you don't have to create a whole website, and we're making it easy and it's free for everybody to join. So it's not something that's complicated. In a world that's kind of complicated, ShopTalk is going to be super simple and easy, and allow people to kind of really represent their uniqueness. I have a small story. I went to this fair here in Lafayette, and this woman she would go to like thrift stores and buy dinosaurs, like plastic dinosaurs, and then she made them do things like she had like one had a little tiny cooking sheet and it had a little like baker's hat, right? And it had, or one had like a hoe, like it was like gardening. And I told her about ShopTalk, and she's like, oh, I don't know if everybody's gonna like what I've done. And I'm like, but that's the beauty. Like, you get to celebrate your uniqueness, and somebody's gonna love you because they're your friends. They already love you. Like, I already love it. I love you're all getting dinosaurs for Christmas, just so you know. And so, it's that I want a really safe container for people to really celebrate themselves and their businesses without any external judgment, without any monetary demands for them to be seen and heard. And that's a lot of what I'm. So thank you for asking about ShopTalk.
Grazie.
Yay.
All right. Well, we flew by on time. I'm super grateful for all of you. Joy, is there anything else you want to leave our audience with regards to your book, Inspired? I'm super happy to have this conversation with you.
Yeah, if you feel like you want to bring some of these dynamics, these principles, and these wisdoms into everyday grounded life, you can buy the book locally. You can buy it on Amazon. But I do encourage people to go to soulinspiredlife.com because I've got those cool bonuses.
Yeah.
Including a 15-minute activation where one of the people who bought the book came back and he was in tears when he was typing a comment that the extra meditations and audibles that are available to people have helped them a little bit further. So, if you feel it, go for it, because I do believe that this was given to me to give to you.
Yes.
And that's all I want to say. And if this inspired you, my intention in saying yes to hanging out with Alex, and it was nice to meet Mitch, and he's gone. Oh, yay!
Hold on, we'll put him back on real quick. Hold on.
Oh well.
I took him off because.
Yeah, thank you, Mitch. I'm just thanking you for showing.
Yeah, no, all good. Love it.
Yeah,
cool. One last thing. We are still in the campaign for crowdfunding, and both of you have contributed. Thank you. What can you say to people out there? Because for me, it's about the energy of them putting $25 into the campaign. What can you guys recommend to people? Why should they do that? Why should they care about contributing at this moment for the crowdfunding for ShopTalk?
I'm gonna let Mitch go.
Well, the timing is perfect because I have a little more insider track as to kind of what's going on, and I just think that momentum is everything when you're doing entrepreneurship, and so you have to keep a lot of plates spinning, and some of those plates need cash to make them work. Zan's worked on some amazing stuff, and I just like the momentum is now. So I think it's just you're doing yourself a favor because you're going to see the results fairly quickly. And I just love the idea of the platform. I think anyone sort of intuitively goes like, great, that sounds awesome. When is it going to be there? And I'd love to see how it works and why it works and get behind it. So that's what that money's for, to like get that learning started right now. So I'm looking forward to it.
And I would add that I really believe deeply in the law of reciprocity. And so every one of us has a dream, and hopefully they're really soul-inspired visions, right? And so we're here for a purpose. And I think Alex is combining her marketing with her love of supporting people in the ripple effect. And you might have a dream and it's realized or not realized, or people have supported you in the past. Or so when my friends offer things and I get a yes inside, I don't think twice. I buy their CD. I contribute to the crowdfunding campaign. And then what happened for me, which I believe was all a part of the reciprocity, because we're all in it together. We have similar missions, visions, and values, right? But the beauty was I became an Amazon #1 bestseller on the first day, because so many people just, Joy, I believe in you. Yeah. And Joy, maybe they felt it or didn't feel it, or maybe the universe felt it, but I love supporting local. I love spending $2 more on a lavender mustard sauce from a farmer who lives up the street than getting something on Amazon, And so I just say, you say yes to Alex, you say yes to what she's doing. If it feels good in your heart, and then just be ready, because you're going to receive. And so the cool thing about it, we give, we receive. Money is energy. So give a little, $20, $50, $100, whatever feels comfortable to you. And it does. It's just so cool. Then when it's your turn to put something out there in the world, art, an essential oil, a class, it's pretty cool how, as we circulate in the energetic of these businesses that are truly committed to sacred commerce.
Yes.
The cycle continues. Money is a flow, as Lynn Twist says, and I quote her in the book. It's just a current.
Yes, and thank you both for saying that. I feel we're on the precipice. It was funny. So I don't have the card in front of me, but today my card was Sacred Revolution, and it said that the new highest authority is love, and we are the ones that are making the machine move. We are, each one of us. And we're kind of used to this system taking care of us and doing that. But if we can corral and collaborate together, which is really what I am like putting together with Shop Grazie, we can do anything. We can use our money. Like, one of the goals for Shop Grazie is to take 1% of all the revenue coming in and then putting it to a vote. What do we want to do with that money? Do we want to invest in other businesses? Do we want to give it to charity? And using the collective of Shop Grazie to show a different way to do business. So it's really something that we're a platform where we can come together, and I'm really hoping that in my highest vision that this is what we can show, is that our vote with our dollars does in fact matter, and that this will be the playground, the sacred playground where we can all do that. So thank you.
Yeah, I just want to say I love the evolution, not just revolution, because that kind of feels like, but it's like it's an evolutionary time, and you are part of an evolutionary brand new growth.
Yes.
You're not trying to fix what's broken.
No.
In the soil of what is conscious and true, birthed this idea. And we're having an opportunity to be something really brand new. So it's evolutionary more than revolutionary. And that's how I'll end it. And it was really fun to be with you both. Love it.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you both. Thank you guys so much. And we'll put all the links for everybody's stuff down below. And we might have to do this again because it was kind of fun.
Grazie.
Grazie. Thank you guys.
I like the grazie.
Right?
Ciao.
Yeah. Okay. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Nice to meet you, Mitch.
Nice
Really
to meet
nice.
you.